Hello friends, welcome to Starfirecodes channel messages. This is a collective reading. The dates on my readings are the dates on which they were channeled. All of my readings are timeless. Whenever they find you, that's when they're meant for you. Please remember to take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. If this reading resonates with you and you would like to access the rest of the reading, which includes the tarot cards that were pulled, numerology, shufflemancy, and often clairaudience, there's a link to the extended reading below in the description box. Extended readings are located on Substack at starfirecodes.substack.com. A subscription to my Substack will provide you with access to the extended archive of all of my readings. To book a personal reading, you may contact me at the email address in the description box below. Let's begin.
Apocalypse and chill. The V makes you more aggressive. Additional space, energies, radiation would affect that. It affects non-GMO people anyway. Short version, parasites, fungi, bacteria, and mold feel attacked when exposed to any additional radiation. When they do, they send out biotoxins to self-protect, kind of like a squid sends out ink. In mold, for example, this is 600 times the usual level of biotoxins just from being exposed to radiation inside a plane at high altitudes. Why are most of the V-zombies freaking the fuck out on planes? Do the math. It's not good. It's funny. I never thought to treat my guides as infallible. I flat out argued with them at times. They're just beings in another dimension. Those energies used to be someone's mother, father, brother, sister, child, and you, especially you. We all come from the same shared consciousness. Operating from another dimension doesn't mean your guides aren't flawed. Don't get it twisted. We're all flawed. That includes your guides. Sure enough, a video pops up during shufflemancy where an intuitive is expressing a similar sentiment about discerning where guidance is coming from. And then my cousin, also an intuitive, calls me and tells me a friend of hers got the V because she says she was guided to and now regrets it. All of this was on the heels of being asked in one of my groups why some mediums are taking it and some are not, which at first I assumed was because hyperdimensional beings can't divert your free will, which is true, but it's not the whole story. I think something else is at play here. There are archontic beings trying to convince intuitives who can hear them and have open, unprotected channels into self-harm, which, let's be fair, why wouldn't they try? It's in their best interest to try to make people think they're doing what they should be doing if it leads them into agreeing to additional slave years in Earth prison because they don't perceive that they are in control of whether they remain on the karmic wheel or not. Channel infiltration and psyops. Sure. Why wouldn't every way be using the total warfare strategy? We can never let our guard down. It's in the human being's best interests to figure out that they are being fucked with on some level and make appropriate decisions that lead to understanding that they are always in sovereign control of themselves and inevitably of whether or not they step off the karmic wheel. I started arguing with my guides as soon as it dawned on me that they have such an utter shit understanding of the way time works here. So typical me, I finally said to them, if you want me to do X, Y, and Z while I'm here, and I'm still this version of me, remove the barriers so I can do the things. Otherwise, you can wait a billion years for some other version of me to do it and fuck off with it telling me about it because that shit does not fucking concern me. They immediately removed the barriers. They're fallible. The interesting thing is that I've been able to find word energy pairings, patterns in my own writings and those among myself and the people I am close to that we can identify in retrospect, utilizing the astrological cycles to look at what opened up and closed out in my energetic sphere and when. Journaling is a huge deal. I can't stress this enough. If you want to be able to look back and see the patterns, you'll need a record of what you were thinking, feeling, doing, and why on any given day so that you can compare the start of the astrological cycle to its end or see where you were mentally and emotionally during an energetic spike. Keep track. For all my gifted programmers in the room, if you decided that maybe you wanted to parse Facebook and Twitter posts to correlate that data with corresponding astrological cycles aimed at spans of time that go back to roughly 2008, the new moon to full moon, new moon in Pisces to full moon in Pisces, etc., you'd likely start to see very distinctive patterns emerge, and that the difference between the patterns now and the patterns before would also give you a gauge to measure the impact of the censorship on the data. Having this kind of deep level of analysis of your own energy makes it very difficult to talk about with others who don't understand or who want to overlay their own experiences on top of what you're trying to tell them without listening to the full content and context of what it is you're conveying to them. These energies are how the universe works. When you learn to tap into them, You know what will happen and when. You can look back and see errors in how you interpreted what happened before because you have data and analysis available to you in retrospect. And this makes you more apt to recognize the patterns as they present in the future. This will give you insight into how most people will behave. Unless your experiences tend to intertwine with certain human beings to a ridiculous degree, where you are already hunting for rhyme or reason in the patterns, really do try to resist the urge to overlay your own experiences and context on top of those of others. You'll completely miss the point of what they're trying to say to you. Just breathe and listen. Don't analyze. Don't worry about what you're going to say next. Be present, be quiet, and listen to the other human being. If you do this, you will make far less perceptual errors. The only thing that would contraindicate this is if you go into a full-on flow state with that other human being where the sum of the interaction is greater than the parts. You'll know because it'll feel manic. You're operating from the gamma brainwave pattern. It is necessarily manic because otherwise you would be unable to sustain the frequency long enough to get the transmission, like you can't get the ideas out fast enough. If that is happening to you, let it be what it is, be present for it, allow it to occur, and revisit it to mine it for more info after the fact. In all other cases, be present and just listen. Don't apply yourself to what you're hearing. It's not your story, it's theirs. You don't need to look for ways to relate. That will happen organically. Just breathe and stop and listen. The more you can slow your interactions down and be super cognizant of your communication, which includes your listening skills, the better everything is going to flow for you. Show up with a few extra helpings of empathy. Just intend to listen and understand. If you do this, you will have significantly less interpersonal fires to put out. I promise. If this reading resonated with you and you would like to access the rest of the reading, which includes tarot cards that were pulled, numerology, shufflemancy, and often clairaudience, there is a link to the extended reading below in the description box. Extended readings are located on Substack at starfirecodes.substack.com. For a monthly or yearly fee, a subscription to my Substack will provide you with access to the extended archive of all of my readings. If you would like to book a personal reading, you may contact me at the email address in the description box below. However, if this is where we leave each other, I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day, friends, and I'll see you next time.